What is up, everybody? I'm here today with you, one of my favorite decks that I've crafted in this game, the Lava Hound Nightwitch Graveyard. And the first video I'm going to show it to you against is against the Hog Cycle, the 2.6 Hog Cycle, which is really annoying to play against, but that's one of the reasons you have the Inferno Tower in the deck. I mean, you have to go through what cards can this deck counter, and it really does counter all the big ones. The one exception is Witch, but as you can see in the next video, if you play against it well, you'll be able to counter it. So here he's about to play the Hog Rider, it looks like, but our Inferno Tower can counter it, and clearly it wasn't played in the correct spot. But even so, with our Goblin Gang, it gets minimal hits. And if you just start a Lava Hound push in the back, you'll eventually be able to do some work. And one of the things that damaged me in this deck was my cards weren't upgraded. So having your cards upgraded, like I know it's hard, but a max level graveyard, when they have level 13 skeletons, that's a really disadvantage. So here another thing that you can do is just straight up trade towers with them. That's a skill that, I mean, if you think you have the elixir to do it, just do it. And clearly here we couldn't trade the towers as expected, but, you know, or it looks like we might. Let's see if he plays that cannon. Yep, he will. But it looks like we're still going to trade towers, which ends up well for us. But again, I mean, just starting up that Night Witch in the back and then following it with the Lava Hound, that's a great push because it's a lot of air and ground at the same time, because the Night Witch staff does do quite a lot of damage, so it's very overwhelming. So the Inferno Tower again, just to stop the Hog Rider, because the Inferno Tower really it can do a lot of damage. And another great part of this deck is you have the Goblin Gang and the Skarmy. So let's say he plays E-Barbs, which is big in the new buff now. You can play Skarmy and Gang if he has like a Zap or something. So here we're going for the push again, but again, those level 13 skeletons, that's the hardest part to fight, because now it's like he has 6 skeletons, because our graveyard has to hit each skeleton twice, and it can't just cancel one for one. So we're continuing through. We're going to start another push. The Inferno Tower really is such a great card. It works not just with this deck, but a lot of decks that, I mean, it's so good. I mean, it counters Golem. It really can counter the Lava Hound if played well, and it counters the Hog Rider. So you jam the Lava Hound in the pocket, see what we can do. We're going to play another Graveyard. But, I mean, that cannon is going to do some work, and those 1-cost skeletons, which are maxed out. This is going to go into overtime, so hoping we can get this done in overtime. I think we'll be able to do it. Another part of this is patience. I mean, sometimes when you're down, like we were down earlier, you just have to be patient with it and not close down the app. I can't tell you how many times people have lost when they easily could have won, because this deck is really a double elixir deck, because having the Lava Hound and the Night Witch in the graveyard, it's a lot of swarm, and it's very overwhelming at times for your opponent. So that's one of the advantages of this deck. So we're just starting up another push. Eventually, if you do this a number of times, you should, in theory, be able to get the tower. And, yeah, I mean, you do have the Snowball and the arrows. I personally think, I used to have the Zap, but the Snowball, I think, is significantly better than the Zap, just because it can counter Goblin Barrel if played correctly. It has a wider radius, and even though it doesn't get there as fast, it's still, that wider radius really helps you like not miss anything, or like when it's stuff like Balloon, like it pushes it back further and gives you more time to react. And now you can see we ended up getting it done, jamming the Night Witch in, and easy dubs, and we'll continue to the next game. Alrighty, so let's continue to the next game here. In this one, we're actually playing against the Witch, which can be very hard to do, but you really just have to stick to your fundamentals and just start a push in the back and stick with it. And one more thing that I forgot to mention in the last one is you have to know when when their cards are out of cycle, like when the Witch is out of cycle, or when they accidentally use their Valkyrie, and you can go ahead and deploy that graveyard, or when they use their Witch, so you can deploy the graveyard, or like when they use minions so you can use arrows on the minion horde or something. Just stuff like that that you have to keep up with. So this beginning, as you can see here, it's pretty sloppy the way I played it. I made a lot of mistakes. I wasted arrows and a giant snowball. I didn't realize he had the minion horde. So that was the real reason for the arrows. But the arrows really have gotten a lot better through the New Balance update. And he clearly thought I was going to give up. But as I was saying, the arrows, because they deploy faster, it makes it almost instantaneous like a zap, which is one of the many advantages of the card. But as you can see here, I'm just going to start up a push again, or maybe play an Inferno Tower to counteract the Giant. The Inferno Tower, I know I've raved about it earlier, but it really is such a good card that should be in a lot more decks than it currently is, because especially with Golem on the rise, Giant on the rise, even like a Dark Prince with like a Snowball or something, it can take care of. But I'm just going to try to cancel his Witch with my Night Witch. Although it's level 12, it is annoying, but, you know, it can still get it done. So he clearly wastes his Valkyrie here because he doesn't know I have the graveyard. That's another special thing. I mean, you wait to show the graveyard until double elixir when when it really matters, and he's going to be really startled by it. So here we played the graveyard. It clearly was a good idea to wait because he had nothing else to play against it. I mean, even though he had the Witch in hand, he didn't have enough elixir to play against it. And I was just full on elixir, so I played the Skarmy. Like, an offensive Skarmy isn't a bad idea because, I mean, I had the Lava Pups, which can do a lot of work, especially since I've worked a hell of a lot for my maxed out Lava Hound. But, you know, as he puts, it's nice to have, like, the gang and Skarmy, so, like, when he puts the Giant here, you can counteract it with the gang, and then you can put the Skarmy around the Witch, although the Skarmy doesn't perfectly counter the Witch, which is annoying, because it does spawn those skeletons once it dies. I personally think the Witch needs to not be buffed. I think it needs to be nerfed. But as you can see, the game is ours. His cards were lost out of cycle. He went to offensive, and the game was ours towards the end. I mean, you just had to wait it out, not quit the app, and great.